back to my channel. This is a very special video for me, and I just want to share with you a little bit about my labor and delivery. I gave birth to our son Eli on October 4th, and it was the hardest thing I have ever done, with the most rewarding after effects of anything I've ever done in my life. This is the thing that I am most proud of to date in my life. I am so very thankful that we got pregnant and that we went through this labor and delivery together. My husband Chris is absolutely awesome. And I just want to give you a little bit of story time on how the labor and delivery went before it's out of my head. This video is as much for me as a keepsake as it is for you to just kind of have a little peek into my life. So I hope that you enjoy. I hope that your comments are kind, and that it's just me sharing my experience of what I went through. So on October 3rd, I started going into having mild contractions. At this point, I was overdue about almost a full week, maybe like 5 days. And the contractions that I started feeling felt almost like, that's him. The contractions initially felt like something that was just upsetting my stomach, just kind of like a rumbling, but I hadn't eaten anything that was doing that. And that was kind of going on mildly throughout the night before I went into labor. The day that I did go into labor and the contractions started to increase, by the evening time, I was really feeling those contractions and they were starting to get uncomfortable. My sister came into town to support us and be with us, so she was with us when the contractions started getting stronger. It's October 3rd at about 5 o'clock. I started having really mild contractions in the middle of the night without knowing that they were contractions. This is my sister, by the way, Hannah. Hello. She's here for the birth of the baby. And all day they've been going on, just been doing our regular thing. And now they're starting to feel a little bit more intense. It's about, what time is it, 5? I think this is going to happen either tonight or tomorrow. So I just feel really bad because it's my midwife's daughter's birthday tomorrow. So, hopefully I don't have it tonight. We'll see what happens. So now we're just going for a walk because that just feels like what I need to do right now. But we're excited and By 7 p.m. that evening, the contractions had become no joke. I've never felt feelings of what a contraction feels like. I can't compare it to anything I have ever felt before. It's a mix of really intense period cramps plus this extra intense pain. So from about 7 p.m., I'm gonna say, until I gave birth at 9 a.m. the next morning, I was going through massive contractions, and there was many points where I just wasn't sure if I was gonna make it through. I was really helped by my husband, who was just pressing on my back a lot during the contractions, which was really helpful. And I just found kind of leaning against the counter with my hands kind of in front of me, rocking back and forth, and just his pressure on my sacrum was really helpful. At 11 o'clock, I had my midwife come over because I was thinking, this is getting really intense, and I just wanted to know where I was at. So she checked me, and I was only 1 centimeter dilated, and it was a little bit crushing to my mental state. However, I also knew that that was a very possible thing, and this is where I just started really knowing that mind over matter was really important. Something that I have to say was really important throughout the entire labor, especially in the last stages, was keeping my mind positive. If I didn't, it would have been so much more difficult. So going back, she left at 11. She said, you know, there's nothing that I can do really. I can stay if you want me to, but otherwise I'm just going to be in your space. I'd rather give you space to just be on your own and be with your husband and do what you need to do. And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. We'll call you when it's getting more intense. Once she left, things got much more intense. I was already really tired. She told me to go ahead and sleep through any contractions that I could, and so I definitely gave it a shot. Me and Chris laid down to go to bed. I found that laying down, the contractions were so much more painful. I just couldn't do it. I probably tossed and turned for about an hour going through those contractions. At this point, the contractions were about 6 minutes apart, lasting anywhere from 30 seconds, sometimes 45, sometimes a minute. Not the consistent 5 minutes apart, 1 minute long. So I wasn't there yet, but I knew I was getting close. And I just wanted to give Chris an opportunity to sleep, because I knew that I can imagine as a support person, it's hard in its own way. You're trying to be there for this person who's going through all this pain, and you don't really know what to do or how to support them or what to do. And I think he probably used a lot of energy just trying to do the right thing. So he was sleeping, and I'm really glad he got those hours of sleep. From 3 to 4 in the morning was a big mental crisis for me. I just put my headphones in, and I put a worship song on that has been like a huge support to me in hard times. And I just listened to that over and over and over, and just went against this wall and rubbed those tennis balls as much as I could. I knew that it was really important that I have some water and have something to eat, although my appetite was not there at all. So I had a bowl of grapes, and I was just picking grapes on occasion in between contractions, and then also in between contractions, just trying to relax. I couldn't sit down, I couldn't lay down, and I just felt awful. I knew that my legs were gonna be so tired from standing for so many hours, and I knew that I had so much ahead of me. So anytime it was between those contractions, I just did my best to relax, even though I was standing. Switching positions is something that I tried a lot, and it just was not working for me. I went on all fours. I leaned against the birthing ball with my elbows on the birthing ball, my knees on the ground. I tried to lay down, I tried to sit down. None of it worked. The only thing that was working for me was standing. So I was like, okay, this is what it is, and I just have to go with it. I believe I woke Chris up because I think I was just in so much pain. I needed somebody to help me. He was like, let's take a bath because it's going to help your muscles relax. And so he drew a bath for me, and yes, the water helped so tremendously much. Just the heat from the water and being submerged, having a little bit of pressure off. The contractions were still very strong in the water, but it was really helpful to just take those bath breaks. I did 2 of those before actually getting into the water, the birthing tub later on, once it was early morning. So after getting out of my own bathtub, there was a little bit sense of relief. I was still laboring and standing, and at about 5 a.m. I told Chris, okay, let's call the midwife. Okay, sorry, I had to readjust and give this little boy some food because he's very hungry and fussy. She asked me, do you want to fill up the tub? Do you want to labor in the tub? And I'm thinking, I guess so. I don't really know what's better, but standing and laboring, I was getting so absolutely dead tired, and I just knew I had so much ahead of me still. So I said, yeah, let's fill up the tub. She filled it up. It was an inflatable tub. We plugged it into the washing machine line, and getting into that felt so good. I continued to labor for another 2 hours, I would say, until the pushing phase came. And it was rough. It was really, really rough. Those contractions were so bad. Sounds were coming out of my mouth that I've never heard myself make in my entire life. Just low, like guttural earth sounds. And I could just feel that the time was coming. It wasn't there yet, but soon I would give birth. And it was like such a dark time because you just know that you still have so much more to go, and it's hard. But there was never a time where I felt like, oh, you know what, I need an epidural, let's go to the hospital now. It wasn't really an option for me, and so I didn't think about it, which I was, in retrospect, really happy about. I'm glad I didn't think about it. So around probably 7 a.m., the second midwife came in, and I didn't know this woman at all, but she was absolutely lovely. I could not have asked for a better team of support between Chris and my assistant midwife, Britt, and the other assistant, Maggie. My main midwife actually was not at my birth at all. She got really sick, so she couldn't be there. And it just worked out perfectly. I have no resentment for the way it worked out. These 2 ladies were strong and gentle at the same time, knew what they were doing, and gave me so much wonderful coaching and pressed my back in the right ways. And I ended up in a position kind of on all fours, very in like a frog position, and that was the only thing that was comfortable to me in the birthing tub. And I just continued to labor, and when the pushing phase came, that was the hardest thing I have ever done. No joke. I know people say that, and you kind of cringe and you think, oh God, that must be really hard. It's really hard, mentally, physically, it was rough. There's something called a caul birth, and it is when actually the baby comes out in its amniotic sac still. And that is what I had. Statistically, I think it's like 1 out of 80,000 births like that. So very interesting. And those last few pushes were really, really intense. I wanted him out so bad, and I was starting to turn mentally very negative, and I just thought, I can't go there. I really can't go there. I got to keep this positive. And so I just said out loud, I'm going to meet my son. And I just kept focusing on that over and over and thinking, we've been waiting all these months to meet our baby, this human that's been forming inside of us. And that was the thing that I clung to at that moment, because it was so difficult. And I just said, I'm going to meet my son. We're going to meet our baby. We're going to see our baby. And that's what I clung to. Chris was so wonderful. We had planned all along that he would catch the baby and cut the umbilical cord. And I know he was scared to do it in the moment, because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this. But he did such an amazing job. He was such a great support, just pouring water on my back through every contraction. And when the baby finally came out, it was the most unbelievable thing I've ever experienced. Like instant love, instant. Just seeing this baby come out of your body, and I didn't know what to do with him. I didn't know what to do, but I was so very happy and so overwhelmed and thankful to God that everything went so well, and he came out healthy. And I did tear. I have a couple of stitches, but you don't even think about that at that point. You just are so happy to see this boy come out, and I still feel the same today. I'm completely overwhelmed with love. We both are, and we're so, so thankful for this opportunity to have given birth, to have labor in our own home, to have had a natural birth that went completely well without any complications. I have to say, I totally get it, how you can go through such a hard situation and then turn around and have so much joy and it not look so bad from the other side. I'm not ready to give birth again this week for sure, but I just think it was such a special, wonderful thing, and I'm so, so very happy with how it went. And the result is pure perfection in my eyes. He's beautiful, and we feel so very happy to have our son with us, and I guess I should introduce you. So here's our little baby. Everybody, meet Eli. Eli? Meet everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your support through the pregnancy and all of your wonderful messages of congratulations on my other social media. I really appreciate you guys. I consider it a real privilege to be able to share my life with you, and I hope that this was something that you enjoyed.
Hey. Hi, little boy.
Wait, bye-bye. Bye-bye.